Hmm.
Hello and welcome to our first Facebook Live in 2024 for the Path of a Magdalena. It's so good to be with you today. And since our beautiful Cara is unable to make it today due to work commitments, we decided to do something a little bit different. So this month we've invited on some of the Magdalena teachers. We have Megan, Claire, Caroline, and Lilian. And everyone here has been through the Magdalena Healing Practitioner Program. So we're all certified Magdalena practitioners able to offer Magdalena sessions to the public. And we've also done an additional 2 years of training with Mary Sice, training on how to lead and teach the Magdalena program. So I'm just going to ask people to do a very brief introduction on just tell us something else about your experience and where you live so that we can just connect in together. Megan, would you be up for starting?
Sure. So my name is Megan McGowan, and I live in the beautiful Pacific Northwest in Seattle. And in addition to the Magdalena teaching and work sessions, I have an energy practice in which I also I'm a spiritual mentor and lead groups and individual work. I also have created a quantum energy academy, which has a lot of programs teaching some energy foundations and everything about the quantum, or what I know about the quantum field. And that keeps me very occupied. I also have a lot of grandchildren, and my husband and and so my life is full.
Thank you, Megan. Claire.
Yeah, hi, I'm Claire, and I'm based in Galway in Ireland. So, yeah, along with the Magdalene energy practice, I also have been practicing homeopathy for, I don't know, 30 plus years. So I'm a long time with that. And I also work as a life change facilitator. So it's all about pretty much people recovering their authentic selves. So it's quite timely with this. And also teach meditation teachings, and that I'm also a teacher with Awakened Life. So it's great to be here.
Thank you, Claire. So what about Lilian?
So I live in France, near Paris, and there are many things I love, but my connection to India is something very important for me. I regularly go to India, I take groups there, and I organize, when I'm in France, workshops on mantra chanting. I give conferences on Hinduism, and I have groups of meditation. I create programs for authentic transformation, as Claire introduced for her practice. And I also have a very busy life. I've only one granddaughter, but this is my life is full, and I love what we are doing. Teaching is something that is important for me, teaching as a Magdalena teacher and also for Awakened Life.
You, Lilian. And finally, Caroline.
Hi everyone. It's good to be with you. So I'm Carolyn. My last name is Ol. I know it's not easy to pronounce sometimes. I live near Montreal in Canada. First language is French, as you can hear. And when I'm not teaching in the Magdalena program, I am working with clients on one-on-one coaching or group coaching that I create for them. And my specialty as a coach is help people understand the I'll say the architecture of their inner programming. So between beliefs and patterns and values and our personality. So I help people have clarity on that so they can start accepting themselves and loving themselves.
Wow, that all sounds amazing. So we've so much talent and experience here amongst us. And I can say that the Magdalena teachers are so amazing to work with. So let's get stuck in. So because our topic of the month is authenticity, I thought that we would do things in a little bit of a different format. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a live satsang. So for people who don't know what a satsang is, it's a conversation about being in the company of truth, being in the company of truth. So often we communicate to people in many different kinds of ways throughout the day. But often, I know for me, often I can be communicating with a lot of people, but still feel like I'm on my own, even though I'm surrounded by people. And often this is because we're not really, we might be communicating with people, but are we really connecting? Are we really connecting authentically with each other? And for me, nothing can replace this kind of conversation where we're speaking truthfully, we're not afraid to be vulnerable. And every time we share something, it always supports the other person because at the end of the day, we realize we're all the same. And it allows us to become more accepting of ourselves. And satsang it's part in the Magdalena practitioner program. A part of the structure is satsang, where we come together and we have this conversation in the company of truth. So, in saying that, who would like to share? I know we had a question that went out in the email for this month about what gets in the way of you being authentic, and do you betray your soul by not being authentic, and why do we do this? So we want to really explore this together. So I would love one of the teachers to share something on authenticity. So who would like to start? Caroline.
I can, yes. I love the question on authenticity, because to me, authenticity exists because of the energy of truth. And to me, truth is one of the most powerful energy, because it's there or it's not there. There's no half truths. It's either full or inexistent. And I noticed that my path of feeling comfortable with truth hasn't always been a smooth river. When I was younger, because of my self-esteem wasn't as it is today, I used to use little lies to cover, like to put on some makeup on some of my behaviors and some of my decisions to try to make me look better in the eyes of the others, because I was so hard on me, so hard on, I was so judgmental that I thought that everyone would judge me and everyone would stop loving me if they would see me as I was, exactly as I was, and without any cover up on it. And so, but it was exhausting trying to not be me, because I thought that being me was not okay. It was exhausting. And eventually, I noticed that I was able to be brave enough to speak, to say what I had to say, and to be fully comfortable living with the consequences of my truth. And I remember recently, again, I tested that ability to be comfortable with the outcome of being authentic. And I've been dating a man for just not so long ago, like a couple of months, and it's new in my life. Those who've known me like the single woman for years and years and years, and now I'm dating. And I had to tell him recently, he's a nice guy and everything, but I had to tell him, you know what? If I was to meet you today, your ability to be a friend to me doesn't meet my expectations. I don't feel listened when I talk to you. I don't feel that you have any questions for me, that you want to know me more and things like that, know me more. And so today, if I was to evaluate a relationship and decide if we were going to be friends in the future, I said, I'm sorry, but that would be no, because I don't feel that I'm receiving as much as I'm giving. And I was saying this, I could see myself like, oh my God, you're so brave, because I knew that I was risking the relationship. But I was risking more when we say betraying. I was betraying my truth by not speaking. And so guess what? He realized, and that he's adapting. And I guess that he feels that the relationship is important enough that now he's asking more questions and he pays more attention. So not only my authenticity make me gain like a richer relationship, but it proved me that I'm brave enough to face any kind of outcome for speaking my truth. And that's the beauty, namely to work with the energy of Magdalena. This is how it serves us. This is how it served me. Mm-hmm.
I love that, Caroline. There's always a risk, isn't there? There's always a risk, and there's always that courage that's needed, but it's so worth it in the end.
Mm.
Beautiful.
I can so relate, Caroline. I'm glad you talked about early on your life and how it's been an evolution, and I can so relate to it's been a continual unfolding of really finding out that, who am I really authentically? Like, what is my truth? And then having the courage to speak it. And so I could relay so many different experiences. And mostly it's been recently, it was, being asked to step forward and step into a leadership role, that the first thing that comes up for me is the importance that I've put on, like, well, I don't know how to do that. I have to know how to do something before I step into it. And what will it look like if I don't know that? And what will people think? And so there's that personality ego part of me that shows up and says, and starts doubting my truth and what I know. And so my first thing is like, no, I don't want to go out of my comfort zone. And, it's nice having a nice, easy flow. And yet there's that inner part of me, that wisdom, that guidance that says yes. And because my truth and my authenticity is about being here and stretching myself and growing and evolving and serving in a way that, also I learned something new. And in spite of how much I love learning, there's a fear and there's a doubt, and there's stepping in. And so it's really been part of the Magdalena program where I've really learned the discernment and had the discipline of listening to that inner guidance and making it like it's every day, connecting with that inner guidance, that truth, and then being able to follow through on that. And anyway, I mean, and recently what I learned and I was shocked at as I stepped forward into a leadership position was to see that part of me that has a hard time accepting other people's opinions and how people want to do it. It's like that arrogance in me that says, I know the best way and we should do it this way. And that shocked me. And so at the same time, it's like, wow, that is not who I am. That is not the truth of who I am. And so learning and compromising and being a team player, it's really been a wonderful experience, and it continues. Yeah.
You, Megan.
Okay, I can go on then. Yes, I do appreciate what you shared, both of you. And for me, actually, I thought that authenticity was not a problem for me, that I was somebody authentic, until I met Saima. And that was like over 20 years ago. And at the beginning of when I was meeting mind programs, Ma said to me one day, Lilian, I invite you to become real, to become true, to become authentic. And actually, I just opened big eyes because I felt that I was fully that. And I knew I had a lot of things to transform, but not that. For me, that was something set. And until, yes, from my early childhood, I remember when I was a little kid and I started to test, how is it to lie? So I made a lie to the family. And I went to everybody and told a lie. And they all believed me. And it was terrible for me. And I started crying, and it was really, wow, I couldn't bear that they believed me. I was lying. And so I had decided I would not lie anymore. And so I must have made some little compromisions on the way, but this is something I kept. So when Matt told me, as like a priority, be real, be true, be authentic, I was really wondering what was she meaning for me. And actually, it really took me several years before I understood that I could be, avoid telling lies. That was something. In the relation with around me, with people. But what about the relation to me? And then I started understanding that maybe I was not fully true to myself, fully loyal to myself, fully loyal to my soul. And that was, it came like, wow. It was a shock, and at the same time, it was like the beginning of a new path, because I just wanted to be clear on my relation on the outside, and I totally forgotten this relation with the inside. And so I started, and I must say I'm still on the path of doing that after many years, and I feel I'm learning little by little, what is it that I'm here for? What is it that my soul is inviting me to do and to become? And it's something that is very subtle and is becoming clearer and clearer. And on the way, I had to stop judging myself when I realized that I was not doing this, I was not answering this calling inside. So being able to accept it and welcome me, myself as I was, and do the work to go in this direction. And so I feel that this path of authenticity, I'm far from saying I am that, but it's really now like a beacon of light, an inspiration on my path. And Mary Magdalena and all the work we've done in the Magdalena program has been really, for me, a big support to accept fully, to see myself as I am and not judge anything, not want to be different, just work and walk the path to become closer to what I wish. So this is my relation to authenticity, something in becoming.
Oh, I love that, Lilian. And, makes me think of, last weekend I just came back after being away in the States, and I arrived in Dublin, and to my daughter's father, who I have a really good relationship with, and he's always very good to me too. And we arrived, and he was actually heading off to South Africa, and he has a dog. Now I have a dog as well. Somebody was minding my dog. And he got let down at the last minute. So he asked me if I'd take his dog, like down to Clare for like 16 days. Now, I won't go into the reasons why, but there's many reasons why this is really not a good idea. So my first thing, I was like, I could hear it so clearly. It was like, this is not a good idea. There's no way this is going to work. It was going to be me just taking on all his stress and dealing with it. It's not going to work. And it was so clear inside of me. And then after that, it's like I had all these voices coming. I so wanted to rescue him. I saw him stressed. I have a dog myself. I know what it's like to be ready to go away and suddenly not have somebody to mind your dog. So I totally could empathize with him. And I so wanted to save him. I didn't want him to be, I wanted to take away his stress. Now, I would have been taking it all. I would have been carrying the stress. And also, there was another voice in me that was like, oh, maybe it will affect the relationship because we have a good relationship now. And I'm saying no. And, that it's mean. Oh, that's so mean. You won't just take his dog, and look how upset he is and all the trouble he's in. And, and honestly, I went upstairs and I was going, I could hear it. It was like, just say you'll do it. Just say you'll do it. Like I could even feel it. Oh, if you're a good person, you'll say you'll do it, and it'll keep everything happy and it'll keep our relationship good. And I actually almost said, oh, it's okay, I'll take him. And then my daughter was there and she said to me, Mom, you're not going to take him. You're not going to take him, are you? And I was going, well, she's going, you can't. She said, there's no way this is going to work. She said, all you're going to do is like, it's just passing the stress on and then you're taking it on. And she was so clear. Honestly, if she wasn't there, I think I would have fallen into that trap again. And I know it would not have worked out. I know I would have come back down here. I would have had all the chaos and I would have started to resent him, even though I was the one who said yes. I could suddenly see all of that. So I said to her, you know, you're right. And I came down and I said, it's just not going to work. Now, I did come back with a counter offer. I said, look, if you cannot find another person and it means that you can't go on your trip, you can get a bus down to Limerick and I'll come and meet you and I'll take the dog. Because to me, that felt okay, but not as a first port of call because it was going to really put me out. And what I really learned from that was I didn't realize that I wasn't being authentic. I was being authentic to my patterns and my people pleasing and the part of me that wanted to not rock the boat and I was being authentic to that. And I only realized that like, this is a facet of authenticity that my soul, and I started to really observe how the voice of my soul, it comes in straight away and it doesn't push, it doesn't keep at me. It's just a knowingness inside, this is not a good idea. And the other part, my personality, my patterns, my people pleasing, was coming and constantly drawing me in, trying to get me to bringing around the stories and pulling me in. And it was just such a good lesson for me in awareness of the authenticity to my soul and realizing that I almost wasn't. And look, let's say that I wasn't, that would have been a learning for me as well, but it wouldn't have been a very comfortable learning. And anyway, we left and the perfect person turned up just after that. And it was a really good fit. He got to go and it all worked out. That was a really good learning for me.
And I can honestly share, truth, Lisa, I probably would have brought home the dog. That's why I was smiling and listening to everybody share. And, in preparation for today and just over the last month since we had our unity gathering, I've been really looking at that piece in myself, how uncomfortable it is for me to actually say no. It's still uncomfortable. And I've lots of compassion with myself for it, but it's, I really see it. I mean, I obviously do say no and I do the work, but it's not yet fully comfortable for me. And, I understand it. I'm wondering, if it's the Irish thing as well, in that, I think I'm naturally a disturber. I remember coming at something recently and, we all show up in groups in different ways. And I think my flavor and my skill and everything I can bring is partly a disturber. I disturb, they say good art, disturbs the comfortable and comforts the disturbed. And I'm basically a disturber. I disturb things. And as a child, that obviously did not go down at all, and I mean, all my life, I was always the one that would be sitting at whatever gathering going, I need to say something. I can't do this. I need to say something. And then I would say it. And the repercussions were, the outcome long term was always really positive. But the breaking the eggshells to make the omelette, and I just, there's times where I've struggled to accept that in myself. And, I was always told, take that look off your face, put a smile on your face. Don't speak like that. Don't say anything. If you're coming now, you don't say anything at all. We're going to dinner now and you say nothing. It was always that. And always that sadness, you know, if I did disturb everything, even if everybody was very happy afterwards and it was the right thing to do, and sure, they were all happy afterwards, but it was like, you know, really. So, you know, so it's still a work in progress for me, being truthful and authentic with it, is the giving myself permission to disturb and to have that thing of what happens to the relationship. Because that was the thing all my life, which is keep the relationship, always keep the relationship. And I really take my hat off to you, to Caroline, to all of you, you know, when you say you have done this. And I have, and I can be authentic, but there is, I will say, still that level of discomfort where I have to really calm my nervous system down and my personality down to say it's actually okay. And yet my favorite work has always been to work with groups or people with either in palliative care or people in literally in birth, in labor. I've been in labor wards, mainly areas where the personality is totally stripped away. And we're just really working on a soul level. And that's where I am most at peace and most at home. Otherwise, I must say, I spend a lot of time on my own, which I love, because I don't disturb myself. And with people like you, thankfully, and people, you know, in my community where I can be that disturber and know that it's my role sometimes. So there's
I
my
love that.
authentic there.
Claire the Disturber, that suits you so well, Claire.
New creation.
I was actually told this at a conference in Glenstall Abbey. One of the brothers said, "Here comes the disturber," which he said was something very valid in a world where things are very much about control and fear. And apparently a good, healthy disturber.
A good, healthy disturber. Yeah, great. So, the one thing I'm really hearing about authentic is it takes something to be authentic, doesn't it? It takes like
Does.
courage. It takes going out of our comfort zone. Like it takes something,
Mm,
but it's worth it.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the only way, isn't it? It's the only way.
Mm.
And it's a lifelong process. I mean, it's a constant, an evolution of coming back to and who am I really? And it's so important to keep asking that question, like, and who am I without the external things when I get down to here in my
Yes.
soul? Yeah.
Without the programming. I mean, this is the beauty of working with people in palliative care, because the programming is gone.
Mm.
And it's so, yeah.
And I love what you said, Lisa, when you said that you spoke of the voices, because the voice of our soul is not a loud voice. And
No.
we need to be quiet and align ourselves to be able to hear it, choose to listen to it, because there are so many voices taking us here or there. And this one is so precious to be.
Yeah, it's the
our
discernment,
guide.
isn't it, for us
Yes.
to know what the
Mm.
voice of the soul is. Like it,
Mm.
I was caught like that.
Mm.
And I
So,
consider in that, just from our experiences of sharing, there's a soul that says yes when it is the discernment, like when is it our soul saying yes and when is it our soul is saying no? So both are always present.
Yes. And yeah, and that voice can be strong. For me, it's quite strong when it's a no or a yes, both.
okay, so we leave you with that. Who am I? Is not a good question that is to hold in your heart for the rest of the month. Who am I? To keep asking that over and over and finding that more and more that place of authenticity to reveal itself. Who am I? So this was amazing to be on here with my fellow Magdalena teachers. We hope that you got something from it. And we invite you to continue to explore that. I know we all are in Magdalena Healing, and it's so great when so many people come together and explore this quality together. It makes it even more powerful. So we invite you to continue to explore this quality for the rest of the month. And otherwise, it was great being here, and we will see you at the start of February with the new quality. Okay, thank you for joining us.